Welcome back to the English Mystic Podcast. Our guest is a true embodiment mentor and creative principle, exploring the realms of mysticism, consciousness, and the arts. She's the mind behind the Soul Aim podcast, where she delves into sensory, body, and soul journeys. Get ready to be captivated by the mystical wisdom and artistic expressions of the incredible Karen Remy.
Well, thank you for this beautiful introduction, Kevin.
You're most welcome. Welcome to our podcast. It's nice and sunny here today for me. I'm half of me is like super bright, but I'm going to leave the curtains because I haven't seen the sunshine for months. So, you're in Germany, aren't you?
I'm in Germany. I'm in Marburg, in the center of Germany, and we have a beautiful gray day here. So natural diffuser for the light.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm living here in Marburg in a beautiful space close to nature. Actually, there's just one house between me and the forest, and
Beautiful.
with a wide view. Well, today it's more like I'm seeing the gray clouds. Usually, when we have sunny weather, I can see for about 15 kilometers.
Oh
But
wow,
right
that's a
now
good view.
it's maybe one, and if the fog is getting more, I don't even see the neighbor house. So it's always a space to remind yourself about who you are. It's
Mm,
like the mountain that is in the middle of the clouds. It's not less a mountain just because it cannot see
mm,
far. So I always remind myself in these days that even though I'm in the midst of the fog, of the not knowing, um, I'm still the one I am.
mm.
So there's still this space of me underlying there. And the clouds will go.
Exactly. Everything's temporary, isn't it? It's all changeable. It's always moving or always evolving. Mm. So your obviously your English is impeccable. So do you actually teach in English and in German?
Yes, I do
Oh,
teach in English and in German and sometimes even in French,
oh wow.
depending on who's joining.
Yeah, of course.
Um, like my online course that I released and the ones that I will release are being created in both German and English.
Yeah.
So I can serve more people.
You can serve the world because a lot of people speak obviously German and French, and then well, you got English. All you need next is Spanish, and then you've covered the world almost. Maybe Japanese.
Mm, I'm not sure I'm going to learn Japanese in this lifetime.
No, exactly. The thing is, nowadays the translators are amazing. I was looking at something the other day where you can give it your video, and in theory, it will translate it into almost any language. I'm not sure what the cost is, but that sounds amazing. So really, we truly can cover the world, can't we?
Yes.
Beautiful. So, can you share a bit more about your journey as an embodiment mentor and creative principal, especially the exploration of different traditions of mysticism that you've covered, and maybe a bit more about the expression of the sensual life experiences?
Hmm. Well, my journey started as an artist, performing artist. And in the performing arts, I'm in the physical theater realm. So just in this chair between theater and dance, there's
Hmm.
the physical theater, and I'm sitting there. I'm
Right.
sometimes leaning more direction dance and sometimes more direction theater.
Hmm.
I'm mostly working without language in my performances. Though there might be like a audio collage with a text, but I'm usually not speaking a text, but I'm expressing through the body.
Hmm.
And this is for me like the base of my work, this expression through the body and this being in the body, feeling like receiving the world through the senses and also being in touch with the world. because there is a beauty of touch. You cannot touch anything without being touched by it yourself.
Mm.
And
True.
so it's always this question of being in the world, being in touch with the world, and receiving the world with our ears. Mostly we receive the world with our eyes, but also to receive it with the ears, with the feeling of touch, with the smell, with the taste, with the proprioceptive sense. So how do I feel myself in space? And then, yeah, there's not just the body, but we also have higher senses and senses to receive energies and receive also messages from higher realms. And I first didn't know that I was having these senses, that I was connecting to those. But when I went more and more into theater work, and you're connecting to different aspects of yourself, of a role, and then you're embodying them and presenting them. And I realized how there's a magic in there. It's like the shamans, they're embodying the animals that the tribe's going to hunt and to receive the gift of the animals. Or yeah, there's a lot of embodiment work in the spiritual realm of shamanism.
Mm.
Mm. And as I'm a physical theater person, I was introduced a lot into body work, because our body is our tool, is our instrument. So you need to take care of it.
Yeah.
And my colleagues always told me, like, wow, you have such a strong magical touch. It's like a healing touch. And they invited me to go and find an education. So I went through 3 years of shiatsu studies. And shiatsu is a body work from Japan, which is based on the traditional Chinese medicine, the 5 elements and the meridians, and also the Taoism. And this got me into Taoism and to seeing how the whole world is in a constant change, and how there's a beauty in giving yourself to the change. And I also realized how much humanity tries to pull out of the change and be something different, and pull out from the earth and its cycles. And that this actually creates a friction in humans, and creates also illnesses. Because we are a part of nature, we are a part of the earth. Even though with all our new technologies and everything, we kind of separate.
Yeah.
But still our bodies are creatures of this earth. And so there I went into shiatsu. And then when I was teaching theater dance and also giving shiatsu sessions, I encountered that people opened up for levels of all the experiences, may it be from birth or from childhood or from past lives. And I realized that I'm kind of a transmitting energy, or like opening, realms, a gate opener. And I didn't want to open gates and not be able to accompany people where these gates were leaving them. And so I went into the study of holistic healing, which is based on reincarnation. It's based on regression work, and the great regression can go into this lifetime, into the childhood, into the birth process, or into the pregnancy, or into a past life, or even into just the light body, depending on where the root of the theme is. And these are different techniques. It all starts the same, and then depending on where it guides us, I have different tools to help people see, understand, and integrate, so that the old pattern can lose the grip, and the potentials that were kind of stuck there in a loop, they come back into the here and now. So right now you have more access to that. And this holistic healing work is connected to Kabbalah. So there I also went through a 7 years masterclass of Kabbalah, light meditation, light work, energy grid work, and working with different realms, for example, with dragons.
Cool.
I know that this is your big heart piece, and
It
yeah, I
certainly is.
also connect to dragons a lot, and yeah. And then lately, in these last 3 years, I came to the world of human design and gene keys, and found them being like a puzzle piece in between the Kabbalah and the Taoism. And it's still like finding its way to weave together. But for me, these are beautiful tools to work out a kind of guidebook or magical travel map,
Yeah.
to see what is the map of your potentials, and what are the hiding dragons in your life, and where are the treasures, and what is your service to the world. So when I mentor, I weave all of those together, depending on what you come to me. Is it more like feeling numb and not connected to the body? Then we would go more into body work. But adding the soul level, because for me, the soul is a big part of embodiment. Or maybe there's a theme that always comes up again, and which creates issues, and you cannot find it in the 3D world. Then it might be a regression to find out where did this actually come from, and to find a deeper understanding of yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's beautiful that you've done a huge amount of learning there, and obviously you've embodied that. I just love the fact that somebody can come to you and you've got so many different tools that you can assist them with. It's amazing. Super. And then one of the things that you're doing recently is you started the Soul Aim podcast, and so typically, what sort do you talk about on those episodes?
Well, the Soul Aim podcast is a mixture of all of those. It can be talking more about the Taoism or about light meditation. It can be talking about this cycle of change, and also about how we are with our bodies, how we are like there are some episodes which are about just like embodiment practices, guided ones that you can just be there and feel your body and relax into your body. And it's a little bit like as diverse as I am. So I cannot say that like that's the typical theme. It's more like a mixture of all of that. Whatever comes through and wants to be said and brought into the world. There's also most of this is still in German, because when I started the podcast, I was not yet decided to be as international. So, but there are also several episodes in German about motherhood and pregnancy and birth, and also about this taboo theme of abortion and about the loss of a child, and then, yeah, all different kinds of experiences of birth that I also have gone through and that had been very intense themes in my life. So I went through, yeah, different initiations with this theme of motherhood and pregnancy. And one of those was actually that I had always wanted to be a mother by 28. And this didn't happen actually pulled me into depression. And this depression got me to connect to meditation and light work. So it's been kind of the fusion, the trigger to connect me to the mystical realm. And now with having my daughter in my life, I feel she is an embodied teacher and an embodied challenge to grow and never stop growing. Whenever one theme is done, the next comes. So it's such a beautiful experience, and at the same time, it's a huge challenge that you cannot run away from. And so I feel our children, when we have them, they are the teachers that we most need.
Yeah. How old is she?
She's 6. She's going to be
6.
7 this summer.
So she's at school now and really learning from other people, not just from mum as well. Did you find that a challenge?
She's going to come to school this summer. So
This summer.
one year later.
Uh,
Yeah. But this is a challenge in my life right now because I'm like a bird flying around, having different theater shows in Germany, mainly, but also in Europe,
yeah.
and traveling a lot. And so with school time, this is changing now. So right now, my private life's topic is to come to stay in one place for a longer period and to really, yeah, be more present in one space and not traveling so much. So this is very interesting for me right now.
Putting some roots down rather than flying around. Yeah, it's quite a
Yeah.
change, isn't it?
Yes, it is a change. Or maybe it's not. I think it's actually a gift that it's gonna give more grounding also to it's going to give me more space to dive into my mentoring work.
Yeah.
Because when I'm like all over the place doing a lot of theater performances, the mentoring work doesn't have so much space. So I see it rather like a transitioning, still performing, but also having more space to be present in one place for mentoring, both online and also in the space itself. So in Marburg in Germany.
Beautiful. So you've actually got space at home now, you were saying earlier, for
Yeah.
people to.
I'm just about to create a beautiful space for sessions, in-person sessions, but also recording in my home house. And also I'm renting out a room for bigger seminaries, just in my village. We have a beautiful big room. And there right now I'm giving as like group seminaries. It's all about contact improvisation and this awareness, body awareness, and allowing to get into contact, giving your word, your weight, not the word, and yeah, allow yourself to lean in and to still stay with yourself while being in connection to another, and while being connected to this inner sensory feelings and the fluid movement, while being moving with somebody else, whilst others are also moving in space. So it's like, for me, contact improvisation is a beautiful way to really train this multi-layered perception. And as we have a beautiful community space just in this village, I rent it every now and then to give some contact improvisation workshops, and I'm also traveling. So whenever people are wanting to have an introduction workshop for contact improvisation, just last weekend, I traveled to another German city where we had a contact workshop and a physical theater dance theater workshop, and that was really beautiful. Also to see how then these deeper layers of spiritual embodiment, they always come through. So it's another way to enter into the spiritual realm is the body.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love, for myself, breath work is the thing I use most for embodiment. But recently I've been doing ecstatic dance, which is just so beautiful. Just 3 hours of not dancing because there's some music that you're dancing to at a disco or whatever, but just whatever your body feels like it wants. And then you get a bit embarrassed that you think, well, people are watching, but no one is. It's that sort of environment, so you end up dancing like a child, dancing like no one's watching. It feels so gorgeous. It just like twirling around and making yourself giddy like you did as a child. It's yeah, I can understand why people enjoy that embodiment and that touch, that connection to another human. And obviously, you also do that a lot in nature. And there's a video I watched recently where you're dancing around the tree, and it's all very sensual, but it's just so beautiful. So what are you doing there? I think in the example there, you're dancing with a tree, and you're saying when we were trees. What was that all about? That was gorgeous.
So When We Were Trees is a stage show. Actually, it's not in
Uh-huh.
nature, but it's with video projection of me dancing in nature and trees.
Mhm.
And the projection field itself, it has a wide backdrop, but it also has like hanging screens, which are branches with screens in between. And so it's like this mesmerizing thing where the one projection is falling on me with a white dress and the branches and the backdrop, and it's also creating shadows. So it was a very mesmerizing performance. And it was all about how to bring this experience of being in nature, being in touch with trees and with the natural energies, and how this is actually a part of us,
Mhm.
like how we, um, like generations back, we haven't been living in built houses. We were like um, hunters and collectors, and we were living in the woods
Yeah.
with the trees, and we were living from the trees and from what the plants and the trees were giving to us as humans.
Mm.
And only we're starting to um, be settlers and be more like cultivating the
Mm.
ground. Our relation to being in total fusion with the forest, with the wood, changed, because then it was like, oh, the wood is the danger and is the dark space of the soul. And we are in our little hedge and just like keeping everything out. And I feel like there in these very early times, it started that humanity started to withdraw from nature. from the earth. And even there was still much more connection to the earth, like also giving to the earth before receiving. Yeah, so this When We Were Trees is about like this woman, which is in a thunderstorm, it searches protection under a tree. And then after the storm, the water starts flowing down and there's like no rain anymore. And then there's this growing happening. And then the wind comes and brings her into like a kind of soupy swirl. And then she's like all moved around and put to the ground like a leaf. And from there's a growing starting. And this is all about like this process of how can we really become a part of nature. And at the end of the performance, she's actually becoming like an old tree and connecting to the universe. So for me, this is maybe who I am, connecting to the natural realms and to the universe, to the sky, to the higher realms. So I see myself not just as a human being, I also see myself as a natural spirit, and I also see myself as a galactic being.
Yeah.
And with my reincarnation work, I know that my soul has been embodied in all kinds of different shapes and forms, and that lifetimes have been, compared to my lifetime now, very short or very long. So yeah, this was a way to bring this approach in a artistic, beautiful way to an audience that may not get in touch with such content otherwise.
Yeah.
And I actually always used to connect some kind of light work with my performances, because it's a beautiful way, especially as mostly I'm performing outdoors.
Yeah.
In public spaces. So there are people coming who would maybe not come to a theater hall, and they would also not come to a spiritual space. But then with being there with my presence and bringing my light to this moment and looking at them, because in my performances we do like long durational performance work where we also go into connection with the audience, and my strongest tools are my eyes, and I can look very deep with my eyes. And I do look at the audience and I look for their soul. And
Beautiful.
this is touching them on a level where they didn't expect to be met in a theater performance. And so it also reminds them of something different. For example, I have one role, which is the stone gardener. And it's a performative Buto dance Zen gardening performance. I have a field of sand that has different stones. I have two tools, like a rogue, I think it's called rogue, and which is at the same time a bridge and a flattener for the sand, and one stick that I can draw with. And I'm walking with very contemplative music around, and there's a sound collage talking about the difficulty of beauty and difficulty of being a stone gardener, and how the stone gardener is giving a name to everything, and by its name it finds its way to be in the world and its purpose. And so it's a kind of it's a shaman, the stone gardener, in this realm of this theater company. And whilst I'm walking around, I'm also looking at the audience, and each step is like one deep look into another pair of eyes. And once we've been performing this, show in a suburb of a little town where it was more like conflict and teenagers who were abandoned by their parents and society, and they were just hanging around there, smoking at very early age and also drinking at very early age. And then we came there, and I must say that I'm the only one who's then in this theater show. All the others are like totally hyperactive, and we all have a very funny costume because we have like our heads are like old how do you say this in English? Like old lamps,
All right. Yeah.
like the things that you have around lamps, but the very old-fashioned ones. So we
Yeah.
have those on the head, and so it's very absurd. And also we have created a whole language for this theater show. So we the actors can talk to each other, and mostly anybody understands. So we have our own language, which is very poetic. And my role, so I'm silent, except of every 7.5 minutes, I'm calling out the name of a mountain. So I'm naming a mountain which once has been a stone gardener, and its stone gardener died, and there was nobody to take care of it. So the stones, as their names were forgotten, they started to grow and to get every bigger and bigger and bigger until they were a mountain. And so then another stone gardener comes and walks around it and really listens into these stones and names them anew. So every 7.5 minutes, I'm naming a mountain. So
Wow.
for naming a mountain, you got to be loud.
Yeah.
From the silent Zen person, then every 7.5 minutes, there comes a very loud Miro de Grillo, which is the guardian of the snow. And so this is the name of the mountain. So in this context, we had these teenagers there, and they were totally making fun out of us. They were like not taking us serious at all, and they were like, they're totally crazy, these actors. What are they doing here? And so they came and sat at my space, and they were joking around. And then I looked at them like with a deep look, and each step I looked into somebody else's eyes. And they were like, oh, what she's doing. Look, she's looking at us. And then next round, they were like, oh, she's coming again. She's looking again. What does she want from us? And then next round, it's like, oh my God, she's coming. Oh, did you see her eyes? How crazy. And then next round, they're like, she's coming again. Is she's gonna look again? And each round that it was passing, they were getting more and more silent. And they were like, she's looking at me. And she's meaning me. And they were like yearning for me to return. And they were sitting there for a long time, longer than anybody else. And like after half an hour or something, they were, whenever I passed by, they were like, oh. And then the next day, we were performing for several days. One of these guys, the one that had been the loudest, most annoying the first day, he came with another one who wasn't present the first day. And they sat there, and the new one was like, oh, what's she doing? What is she doing there? Is she on drugs? She's so slow. She's so crazy. Oh, she's screaming. And the other one like, shh, I want to see that. And he stayed. His friend went away, and he stayed again the whole evening. So yeah, for me, this is the beauty of working as a performer outside and being able to bring something to people who would not
Mm.
come to me as a mentor, who would not come to a theater show indoors. And yeah, being of service to the world and to to the people also in this way.
It's just so beautiful because the noisiest ones are normally the ones that are after attention. So you're giving them the attention, and then they're like, "Oh, she's giving me the attention," and they're not used to it. That's beautiful that you sort of breaking them down so peacefully. It's
Mm.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can just imagine. I mean, your eyes shine. You're. They say that eyes are the windows to the soul, aren't they? And certainly
Mm.
when you're looking, there is you can feel the connection. Yeah, imagine those teenagers that everyone's just like ignores them or tries to keep away from them. You're actually connecting with them. That's gonna leave an impression on them, isn't it? That changes someone at their soul level. That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, definitely something to come and watch one day.
Yeah.
And then we talk about dragons, and I have to mention that there's a picture, a beautiful picture of you with a white dragon behind you. What was that about?
That was beautiful. It's actually, this is in northern Thailand,
Oh
and
wow!
it's part of a temple, a Kuan Yin temple,
Mm.
with these huge stairs with, I think there were like 6 white dragons, giant
Oh
white
wow!
dragons. And I've been to Thailand with my daughter for
Mhm.
a artist residency in the beginning of 2024, so in
Mhm.
January. And my daughter and I, we love dragons. So we told each other we are going to go on a dragon quest in Thailand. So when I was researching in the beginning for mm, yeah, what would be interesting in this region, I stumbled over these pictures of these white dragons and I was like, oh, I need to go there. So we went there and it's beautiful temple, and also inside of there's a huge Kuan Yin statue.
Mhm.
So and you can go um into her head actually, and
Oh wow!
there's a
It's huge.
little round window on her third eye, and you can look out of the third eye of Kuan Yin. And indoors, there's also beautiful sculptures of dragons. So
Mm.
um, this is in Chiang Rai, northern Thailand. I recommend going there. And yeah,
Yeah.
this is the white dragon.
Yeah, I'd love to
But
go.
I
It
also
sounds amazing.
connect to white dragons in my energetic work,
Mhm.
because white dragons are great helpers for energy grid work.
Mm.
So they are kind of weaving the um, energy lines and the grid, like reweaving when there are holes or like weaknesses. Um, Flying with white dragons is a beautiful thing to do then.
Mm. I hear you. We could go down a deep hole. I'll stay away from dragons because you know I love them. But definitely, when you say that, that whole weaving and the ley lines, the white dragons have come out a huge amount recently, and I'm going to Rome at the end of April, and that's all about bringing the energy of the white dragon and bringing it around the whole of, as you can imagine, what's going on in Rome, and so yeah, but yeah, that's another deep hole we're going to another day. Let's stick with your wonderful life. What else have we got? Yes, your mission is to help others recognize, and it says their difference, and I think that's beautiful. So, how do you assist people in recognizing their difference and then really making that belonging to them? And how do you understand? How do you move them through so that their life purpose is about their difference in your mentorship?
Mm. Well, when I was a teenager, I hardly tried to belong and to fit in, and I
Mhm.
just didn't. Just didn't work. And this trying to fit in and being as the others was not healthy. And it's only through my spiritual work that I started to realize that this which made me different actually made me who I am. And it's been a long work of appreciating my difference and seeing that actually in this edgy part, which doesn't fit into the different drawers that society would like to put you in. I'm not fitting into one, and I'm like, you cannot pull me apart into all these different drawers that you could put me into. And I realized how that for myself actually, my gift to the world, this multitude. And then both with my Kabbalah work, when we were reconnecting to the soul, I also, that's why I say I'm a creative principle, I have a part, like a huge part of myself is based on in the level of Chakma, which is the energy field of all the possibilities. So it's more like a sparkling, glittering, ever-changing space where you could be like in a mirror cabinet where everything is like seen from different facets and amplified and also moved, because it's not clear yet. There's like, for one decision there are millions of options, and this is one energy which is a part of mine, and the other one is like being at the part where the oneness becomes the multitude. So energy wise, I'm on this transition point from my soul, and this is also what my gift to the world is. And so when I'm guiding people, I'm helping them to reconnect to what is their soul energy, what is their inner light, what kind of colors do you have, what different aspects do you have. And we're also using human design and gene keys, because there you get it's a little bit like I said earlier, like a map to see which potentials you actually brought with your birth. I'm also using numerology, because also there you can see a lot of the potentials that you brought in with birth. And in numerology, you also see where your body physical issues were maybe already brought in by birth, and what the kind of mission for this lifetime is. Like, it's not giving you the precise mission, but it's giving you the direction. You got to find your precise mission yourself. All these tools are never giving you the precise mission, like this is your task, just do it. You got to find it out yourself, and taking these hints, all these different tools are just giving you hints. They're showing you a direction. And then when you go into that direction, you will find out yourself. And nobody else from the outside can tell you. No tool, no other spiritual guide can ever tell you what your work is. You have to find yourself. But I'm very convinced that your work, your soul's mission, your purpose lies in what makes you different than the others. Because in this differentness, there's this huge gift. Because if this is not like somebody else is, then this is exactly what you can bring to this world. And only you.
True. It's so powerful. And society makes us all want to be the same. It's very hard. I remember as a teenager, I was very different as well, and society pushes you out to the edges, and as a child, it's hard. It's not well, it wasn't for me until I became an adult that I realised that difference was powerful. Before that, I had to be the same. Otherwise, because you're different, everyone shuns you. It's yeah, it's beautiful. And you mentioned the archetypal numerology then, and I believe you've got a course. Do you want to explain that and give us a little like you need to sign up?
Yeah. So archetypal numerology is my first online course that I realized, and it's available on Kajabi with the beautiful features of Kajabi, with like having it also in an app or on the desktop form. And it's opening the realms of numerology so you can understand what you brought with you by birth, but it's also yeah, it's combining just the numbers with pictures, with the archetypes of these numbers. So, and with learning these 10 archetypes from 0 to 9, which I explain with the big tarot arcana, the major trance, 0 to 9, then you get an image. And this image, this archetype, is helping you to really grasp it easily, and to let these images bring you also the information that is within the ciphers.
Yeah.
And then I'm going through different ways of applying these archetypes to the body, which I already said, like you can see in the numbers of your birth date, you can see which physical like energy holes you've brought also with you.
Yeah.
And you can also put this into relation with other humans to see how there are life learning themes that you can learn from each other, or where you match with each other with difficulties, and where you will always have a topic being created around this theme. And so it's helping to have a greater understanding of our being in the world. It's also showing you this destiny code, so what you're here to do. As I said, this is just showing the direction. It's not telling you exactly what to do.
Yeah.
For example, for me, I'm a 7 from 34, which means that everything I do has to be based on 3, the creativity and the female embodiment, and also this mother archetype. And the 4, bringing it into the form, into structure, into the world. So I got to create and bring my creations into the world, into the matter. And the 7 means that I got to do it myself.
Yeah.
So I cannot work just for somebody else, because it always needs to be connected to a creative process and a realization in the work. I can go in co-creations with others, but I'm not the kind of person who can just go and take a job somewhere and just work for money. Like I can do this. I did this in my teenagehood, like for like if I wanted to realize a project and I needed money, I went being a server in a cafe for a while, but I never in my lifetime anyways had been employed somewhere, because I have the 7 there. And so the 7 is very difficult to be employed because you have to do your own things.
Beautiful. And one of the things you also do is you create beautiful sculptures, and I've got one here, one that you made for me a while ago, and it sits in the middle of my temple. It's surrounded by everything, the dragon runes, and
Mm.
it's the dragon heart that you created. How did you get into making these beautiful pieces of art? And do you make many for people?
Yeah, well, I got into making these beautiful pieces of art when I was studying human design, and my human design teacher, she was the daughter of a feng shui master. And one day she just held this little tree into that she just bought into the camera and said like, "Oh, I just got this, and it's helping to manage the energies in my space because there's like a negative energy coming from the back, and I'm just putting this behind me, and so it's actually changing the energies for me. It's protecting me." And I was like, wow, that's beautiful and that's amazing. I also want one like this. And well, I went through all the different stores in town, and there weren't any. And then I went through internet, and the ones that I could afford at the right moment, they were just so ugly. And the ones that I couldn't afford were beautiful, but I couldn't afford them. And then I started just creating them myself because I thought, like, well, I have stones. I love stones. I have loads of gemstones. And so I thought, like, well, I have gemstones. I still have silver wire. I just start doing them myself. And then I started creating them myself, and then I showed them to the camera, like, hey, I just did it myself. And people were like, oh, beautiful. And so this got me into creating them. And for me, they are like, I feel like the trees are using my hands to be born. Like these are like little beings. I never know how this tree is going to look like. And it's such a magic how from this flat wires, like with thousands of turns, um, these beings appear. And as I'm so connected to trees, like from all my years of being the world, looking at trees, looking at the dance of trees, um, yeah, I really feel that yeah, there's something coming into this wire which makes it alive. And then what she said in the beginning, that it kind of transforms the energy. For me, I feel it's like that as well. It's transforming the energy, like the trees are transforming the carbon dioxide into oxygen again. And for me, these soul trees, they are transforming the energy in the space, and they're amplifying the energies of the gemstones. This is what I feel about that. And I think you came to it because last year I was also creating a new one. I showed it into the camera, and he was like, "Oh, I want one."
I was like,
And then
I must have one.
I must have one. And then um, you you asked me to just send you one of those that were already created, and I felt into them, and I was like, this doesn't match to your energy. So that's why we decided on this stone, and like I showed you different options, and I created,
It's it's got the
yeah,
heart shape.
yeah, it's a heart-shaped jaspers, which is all
Yeah,
about courage and about being like a grounded connection. It's a warrior stone, and the leaves then are crystal,
yeah,
like,
beautiful. I love the fact that it wobbles like it's in the wind as well.
yeah,
It's true. Its energy is so beautiful, and I just love the way the trunk swirls around. And there's a forest on Dartmoor where there's lots of miniature oak trees, and they look exactly like this, all sort of gnarled, and they're all growing between the huge rocks, so that their roots are all over the place. It just reminds me of that. And I say it sits here in the middle of my. I've got a shield, and it's surrounded by the runes and all of my. It's basically my altar, and it yeah, this is the center of it, controls the energy, spins it around. It's beautiful. I love it at night when it reflects off off the light, all the little crystals. Yeah.
Mm.
So if people wanted one, they could commission one, or they could. You've got some that are
Yeah.
for sale already, ready made.
I've got I think 8
Uh-huh.
that are done
Yep.
already, but they were too ethereal for you. You needed something more grounding. And I have more stones here, so I can also, depending on where my availability is, I can take on commissioned works. And
Beautiful.
but
Great.
I must say that they also belong to the realm that I wouldn't have been able to afford when I started to do them. So I'm also coming into, they are, for me, they are artworks, they're not just the
Yeah.
cheap thing to do.
No.
But I also tell people that when you feel like you want something like this and you're connected to nature and you're connected to being able to craft things with your hands, you can also do it yourself.
Mm,
So
true.
um, there's always this question of like, do I really want to have it? And do I fall in love with one existing one, or do I want to have one being created by the artist?
Hmm.
Or do I take my time and my own resources to create my own? So
Yeah.
there's always two possibilities: to invest your time and energy, or to invest into something already done by somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got at the moment where I've got my dragon runes, and a friend of mine has printed them using lasers, which is beautiful, and they're lovely and very tactile. But the other day I bought some small pieces of oak, and I bought myself a little engraving chisel, and I just got this feeling that I need to create my own set for me. And so yeah, that's when I get a chance, I'll start working on them one by one. Luckily, the designs aren't too complicated, so I think I'll be able to do them. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing that. And then there's something you've created and the dragons have downloaded to me. So, so the
Yeah.
future. What does the future hold for you, Karen? In both personal journey, yeah, and your impact that you're making on the world. What's next with you?
So I came back from Thailand with different footage for small dance films of me dancing in nature, and also one beautiful one which is called Leave Me, um, where we're connected to the huge dry leaves, and I got the youngest and the oldest participant of the residency to join in. So my daughter with her 6 years, and an 80-year-old
Wow,
man who was there joining us for the
beautiful.
residency. And yeah, and me and another woman dancing. So this is going to be created this year. And then another one about the stream of life, about um, motherhood and period, so the monthly bleeding and pregnancy.
Yeah.
So these are two films that will come out of my creative realms this year. And then I'm planning on creating new online courses. So one as being the cycle of changes,
Hmm.
which is an introduction to the 5 elements and how these 5 elements of the Chinese medicine and how they're related to nature, how they can help us reconnect to nature and our own being in this cycle of change, and how this can give us a rootedness in the change, like
Mm.
to like flowing with the change instead of fighting against the change.
Yeah.
And then there's another one which is the senses of life, which is going to be an online course about, yeah, connecting to the senses, to embodiment, to it's going to be based more on audio guides, so that you're not having to look at your device, but you can just listen in. and you can actually take it to nature and go into a sensoric exploration of nature with my guidance. So these are my plans. Next to that, I'm teaching contact improvisation introduction courses, which I call authentic contact essentials. So it's about an authentic connection to yourself and the essentials to go into this dance form that I mentioned earlier already. So these are in-person workshops in Germany so far. I'm going to be on tour in Germany with Theater Anu, which is the theater company that I've been working with for 15 years now. It's the 15th year, where we have shows like the one of Stone Gardener and other beautiful mystical worlds that we create. And yeah, I'm open for one-to-one mentorship also. So if you feel called to be working with me, you can also connect to me.
Beautiful. And if people want to get hold of you, what's the best way?
You can connect to me via my website, which is karenremy.de, and they can just use the contact form, or you can connect to me via Instagram, where I am the Soul Arts and Movement Muse, and arts and movement is the aim. So it's the soul aim that you also find in my podcast. And the aim is like, where do you want to go to? What are you aiming for? And in this aim for me are always the arts in movement. And if you saw my logo, it's about like this tree and the phoenix and the dancer and the yin and yang, and also a rune. I'm also working with runes. So yeah, there's a beautiful mixture of all of that, which I am embodying and sharing with the world.
Beautiful. And is there anything else you'd like to share with my audience? Any last thoughts?
The answers for the questions are often very close to us. And it's with seeing your direct surroundings and looking within that you may find them. And sometimes it's looking from a place within, like from a soul place, onto your life. Like it's still very close because it's your soul, but it's kind of looking from a higher perspective that can, show you a wider perspective of who you are. And so I recommend everybody to connect to their own inner guidance and to see and contemplate your life, take in what's showing up.
Beautiful. It's been beautiful having you on the podcast, and I'll obviously share all of your links so people can find you, and I'll then gonna put my little soul tree back where it needs to be, holding the energy. And if anyone wants one of these, they are amazing. They're beautiful. They're the sort of thing you just can sit there for a moment, you just stare at them and follow all the links. It's beautiful. Karen, it's been amazing having you on the podcast. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And looking forward to connect to you and all the others who want to connect to me.
Beautiful.